How many times have you wondered why, despite your best intentions, people seem to dislike you without reason? Have you ever felt like you're fighting an invisible battle, trying to win over those who just won't warm up to you? Or found yourself in situations where, no matter how genuine or friendly you are, people respond with coldness or judgment? And how many times have you walked away from these moments wondering, what did I do wrong? Now, imagine this. Trying so hard to be accepted by everyone is like wearing clothes 2 sizes too small. You're constantly adjusting, pulling, and squeezing into something that just doesn't fit, feeling uncomfortable at every turn. Or picture this, putting your heart and effort into relationships with people who never seem to appreciate it. It's like trying to fill a bucket with a hole at the bottom. No matter what you do, nothing holds. Take a moment to think about this. Have you ever tried to change yourself or bend over backward just to gain approval? Yet sometimes all these efforts seem to backfire, and instead of acceptance, you get cold shoulders and misunderstandings. It's confusing and frustrating, and deep down, it can lead us to question our self-worth. It can be deeply unsettling, knowing you're disliked for reasons you can't quite understand. This discomfort, when left unexamined, can grow, impacting our self-confidence and even making us question our own worth. But why does this happen? Is there something in us, or is it in the way people perceive us? Today's video will reveal 8 surprising reasons why people might dislike you, and some of them may hit close to home. Stick around until the end, especially for the final reason. It might just open your eyes to something you hadn't considered before, and it could completely change the way you approach these situations. Number 1. The mirror effect. Have you ever been around someone who just seems uncomfortable in your presence? Almost like there's an invisible wall between you both, built from their sudden coolness, their avoidance, or their slight resentment. Sometimes, without realizing it, people start to dislike others not for anything they've done, but because of the reflections they see. Imagine this: when people encounter certain qualities in you, confidence, ambition, kindness, qualities they struggle to embody themselves, it can trigger a reaction. It's as if they're looking into a mirror that's too honest, showing them sides of themselves they'd rather not face. They see what they lack or fear, and instead of confronting those feelings within, they project them outward. This is called the mirror effect. Just like a mirror shows us a true reflection, certain people become mirrors to others, reflecting the insecurities, flaws, or dreams they've buried. It's uncomfortable to see what they'd rather hide, and so, instead of admiring or growing, they choose to resent or reject. Now, this can be frustrating. You might feel tempted to change, to dull your light so that it doesn't seem too bright to others. But Stoicism reminds us that our job is not to manage others' discomfort or shield them from their own reflections. Marcus Aurelius would say, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." You can't control that someone may be unsettled by seeing what they lack in themselves. What you can do, however, is stay steady in your values. Continue to grow, regardless of others' reactions. Don't soften your ambitions, your kindness, or your strength just to make others comfortable. If anything, these qualities might even help them confront what they need to work on, if they're willing to reflect honestly. And remember, the issue isn't with you. It's a response to their own unhealed insecurities. Stoicism teaches us to let go of things outside our control, especially the opinions and discomforts of others. Don't let their reflections cast a shadow on your path. As Epictetus said, "We suffer not from the events in our lives, but from our judgment about them." People's judgments of you often reveal more about their own fears and insecurities than about you. Accept this, continue forward, and let the mirror effect simply be a reflection, nothing more. If you learned something new from this video, please like and subscribe. It would be an honor for me to have your support. Number 2. Unspoken envy. Have you ever sensed that quiet tension in the air, like an invisible weight, where smiles don't quite reach the eyes and compliments sound more hollow than sincere? Sometimes people hold an unspoken envy toward others, whether it's for their success, their personality, or just the way they carry themselves. It's an unspoken, hidden feeling that bubbles beneath the surface. Jealousy often starts subtly. Maybe you've achieved something they're still working toward, or perhaps there's a confidence you carry that makes them feel small in comparison. This envy isn't always intentional. It's often a silent frustration within themselves, a longing for what they haven't achieved or qualities they wish they had. But instead of turning that energy into growth or self-reflection, they project it outward, sometimes subtly turning their envy into resentment. Stoicism teaches us not to be rattled by these emotions in others. Marcus Aurelius would remind us that we can only control our own thoughts, not the silent struggles others harbor. Just because they feel envy doesn't mean you should feel guilt or shrink your success to make them more comfortable. Your achievements, your personality, they are yours to embrace fully, not to hide away for the sake of appeasing others' insecurities. The truth is, everyone has their own journey, and sometimes your path might highlight gaps in theirs. But as Seneca wisely said, it is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor. Jealousy speaks to a lack within themselves, not something you've taken away. So what can you do? Acknowledge it without letting it affect your stride. Hold compassion, but don't let it weigh you down. Instead, use it as a reminder to keep moving forward, to keep growing, regardless of the quiet envy that might surround you. And if anything, remember that envy often fades, but your dedication to being the best version of yourself will leave a far deeper mark. Number 3. Misaligned values. Have you ever felt an unspoken distance from someone, even though you've never had a conflict with them? Sometimes it's not actions or words that create tension, but a quiet clash of values. When you live by principles that don't align with the norms around you, it can stir discomfort or even resentment. People may not openly oppose you, but the gap in values can create a silent divide. Values shape how we see the world, how we make decisions, and what we prioritize. When your values lead you down a different path, one of integrity, simplicity, or resilience, it might highlight choices others have avoided or sacrificed. Even without conflict, this difference in outlook can feel like a reminder of decisions they've made that don't align with their deeper principles. In Stoic philosophy, living in alignment with one's values is essential. As Seneca said, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve." The Stoics encouraged surrounding oneself with people who share or respect your values, but they also accepted that misalignment is natural and sometimes unavoidable. When values don't match, the discomfort of others is not your burden to carry. Stoicism teaches us to accept what we can't control, like the opinions or judgments of others, while holding true to what is within our control, our own values and actions. So let the misaligned values be. Accept that not everyone will understand or appreciate your principles, but stay true to them anyway, because the strength to live by your values, even when others don't agree, is what will bring you peace and fulfillment in the end. If you're enjoying the video so far, make sure to comment "I love God" to let me know that you're liking it. Number 4. Nonconformity to social norms. Have you ever noticed how some people become uneasy when you refuse to follow the usual path? When you choose to live on your own terms instead of blending in, It can make others feel unsettled. Society has a way of enforcing invisible rules, norms that dictate how we should behave, what we should value, even how we should think. And stepping outside those lines often invites judgment or unwarranted dislike. Nonconformity challenges the comfort zones of those around you. When you live boldly, choosing to question rather than blindly follow, others might interpret it as a threat, as if your choice to be different somehow undermines their choice to conform. Your independence can make them reflect on their own lives, whether they're as free as they'd like to be or as authentic as they imagine. Instead of confronting that discomfort within themselves, it's often easier to project it onto you. But Stoicism reminds us that the opinions of others should not dictate how we live. As Epictetus taught, if you wish to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. The Stoics embraced a life led by reason and purpose, not by the shifting opinions of the crowd. Living authentically means accepting that not everyone will understand or accept your path, and that's okay. What matters is not their discomfort, but your commitment to being true to yourself. If you choose the road less traveled, embrace it fully, knowing that others' unease is theirs to manage, not yours. After all, being authentic often inspires others, even if it challenges them at first. Remember, the strength of a Stoic is in following their own principles, not bending to the approval of others. So, keep walking your path, despite the glances, despite the judgment. Because in the end, true freedom comes from within, not from seeking validation in others' expectations. Number 5. The desire for autonomy. Have you ever noticed how some people seem almost offended by your independence? When you choose to rely on yourself, standing firm in your own decisions and not leaning on others for approval or support, it can create a subtle tension. Autonomy, the desire to chart your own course, free from the need for constant validation, often unsettles those who find comfort in conformity and interdependence. People who assert their independence challenge the unspoken rules of social dynamics. Society often expects that we'll need others, that we'll seek reassurance and depend on the group. But when you choose self-reliance, some may interpret it as arrogance or distance, even though it's simply a reflection of your inner strength and confidence. Your autonomy can act as a mirror, highlighting the insecurities of those who may feel lost without the safety net of external support. In Stoic philosophy, autonomy is a core principle. Epictetus would remind us, "No man is free who is not master of himself." True freedom, according to the Stoics, comes not from dependence but from developing an inner compass, an unwavering sense of self that isn't swayed by others' judgments or approval. Embracing your independence is not about isolating yourself, but about cultivating resilience. It's natural for some people to feel uncomfortable with your autonomy, but that discomfort is theirs to bear, not yours. Stoicism encourages us to focus on what we can control, and others' unease with our independence is not one of those things. So continue valuing your self-sufficiency and remember that inner strength can be intimidating to those who haven't yet found their own. Embrace your autonomy, not as a way of distancing yourself from others, but as a way of becoming the truest version of yourself. Number 6. Success without validation. Have you ever felt the quiet resentment of others when you achieve something meaningful, without broadcasting it, without needing applause? It's strange, but finding contentment in your own accomplishments without seeking validation can unsettle those around you. When you're at peace with your success, it challenges an unspoken rule that achievements are meant to be flaunted, shared, and approved by others. Success without validation highlights a rare strength, a sense of fulfillment that doesn't rely on others' approval. People often expect that recognition is the end goal, that your achievements need to be validated by the crowd to hold value. But when you find joy in your own journey, measuring success by your own standards rather than by the praise or envy of others, it can make those who rely on validation feel uncomfortable. Stoicism teaches us that true contentment comes from within. Marcus Aurelius would say, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." The Stoics believed that self-fulfillment is found by aligning with our own principles and values, not by winning the approval of others. When you don't seek external validation, you're not dismissing others. You're simply rooted in your own worth. Of course, this kind of independence can invite criticism. People may see your self-sufficiency as a rejection of their validation, but remember, their discomfort is a reflection of their own insecurities, not a measure of your success. So stay centered in your achievements. Celebrate them privately, if that brings you peace, and let go of the need to prove yourself to anyone. Because in the end, the satisfaction you feel from within is far richer than any applause from the crowd. If you learned something new from this video, please like and subscribe. It would be an honor for me to have your support. Number 7. Refusing to play mind games. Have you ever been in a situation where someone tries to pull you into their web of manipulation, only to find that you won't play along? When you refuse to engage in mind games, it can frustrate or even anger those who rely on manipulation to get what they want. You see, mind games are about control, about keeping you guessing, second-guessing, or bending to someone else's agenda. And when you don't engage, they lose that power. People who thrive on manipulation often struggle when they encounter someone who values honesty and clarity. By refusing to play along, you're making a silent stand for respect and integrity. To them, it might feel like you're challenging their way of relating to others, and that resistance can lead to resentment. After all, if they can't pull you into their tactics, they're left facing the reality of their own behavior. Stoicism teaches us the importance of self-governance and emotional awareness. As Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. By choosing not to engage, you're exercising control over yourself and your responses, refusing to let another person's manipulation dictate your behavior. This act of defiance, calm and grounded in self-respect, is a powerful way to uphold your boundaries. Of course, some will feel frustrated by this, but remember, their reaction is just that, their reaction. Stoicism encourages us to let go of what's outside our control, and how others respond to your integrity is certainly one of those things. So, hold firm. Don't let manipulative behavior shake you from your principles. The path of self-respect may not win you everyone's favor, but it will bring you something far more valuable: inner peace and emotional freedom. By refusing to play their games, you're choosing your own path, one free of needless drama and full of self-assuredness. Number 8. Refusal to gossip. Have you ever been in a conversation that starts innocent enough, only to take a turn into gossip? The moment you choose not to join in, a quiet judgment can fall upon you, as though your silence is somehow a criticism. When you refuse to gossip, some may view it as arrogance, as if you're placing yourself above the group. But often, choosing integrity over gossip is less about pride and more about respect, both for yourself and others. Gossip thrives on bonding over flaws and failures. It's an easy way to feel connected, to feel in the know. But by stepping away, by refusing to speak poorly about others behind their backs, you're choosing a different kind of connection, a connection to your own principles. This choice can make others uncomfortable because it highlights a higher standard, one they might not be ready to uphold. The Stoics understood the power of words and the impact they have on our character. Seneca once said, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you." The Stoics believed that conversations should uplift, educate, or inspire, not drag others down. By avoiding gossip, you're aligning with this principle, valuing conversations that build rather than tear down. Some may see this as self-righteous, but remember, their reaction speaks to their own insecurities, not to your integrity. Stoicism reminds us to focus on what we can control, like our own actions and values, and to let go of others' judgments. So, let them misunderstand if they must. Keep choosing integrity, not to prove a point, but to live in alignment with your principles. In the end, the respect you'll gain from staying true to yourself will be far more valuable than any fleeting approval you might have won by joining in. And with that choice, you'll carry a quiet strength, one that speaks louder than any words ever could.